I miss Kamaru. Ever since Leon has become champion, and don't get me wrong, the start of Leon's reign as champion, I was all on board, man. And still, Leon Edwards is probably one of my favorite champions. Everything from his backstories, from living in Jamaica, going to Birmingham, hearing about his childhood. I mean, it's hard not to be behind Leon Rocky Edwards. But I don't like people that are a hypocrite. What I mean by that is Leon was on Kamaru Usman when he said he wanted to go up to 205 and challenge for the belt. Go have a boxing match with Canelo Alvarez. He was on Kamaru Usman for this. Said that, well, when I'm champion, I'm going to focus on defending the belt. I'm going to bring greatness to this division. And he becomes champion. Defends the belt against Kamaru Usman. Good on to you. Puts on a spectacular performance. One of the best championship fights I've ever seen is Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2. Amazing fight. And then we gift him a money fight in Colby Covington. Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards benefits Leon Edwards more than any other fighter on that card because he's going to get a higher pay-per-view percentage than everybody else. But now we're talking about him going up to middleweight and getting a double champ fight with Sean Strickland. I never thought we would be in the time where we have to incentivize a champion defending their belt against fellow people in their weight class. And listen, I'm not against fun. I'm not against a good double champ fight, but I remember that to get a double champ fight, you had to clear out your division. Alexander Volkanovski, I know it's kind of crazy to say now, Volkanovski was not a fan favorite for a while. Most of the MMA fan base rooted for Max Holloway to beat him every single fight. It wasn't until the third fight that we almost unanimously agreed, Max Holloway's good, but Volk is just better. And Volk wanted to fight for the lightweight belt before Islam became champion. He wanted Charles Oliveira. But the UFC wanted him to clear out his division. And that's the approach that I think they should take universally. The UFC is about precedent, and I think they fucked up when they gave Conor McGregor a damn near instant lightweight title shot and jumped the line from featherweight, when he didn't get a title defense at featherweight to begin with. But I understand from the UFC's point of view because Conor's made more money for the company than any other fighter in UFC history. But other fighters are looking at this. Other teams look at what Conor did and are like, oh, so if I want to make real money, I have to become a double champion. That's not necessarily true. You will make more money defending your belt 3-5 times. If you defend your belt 3 times a year, Leon, you will make more money than a double champion fight between you and Sean Strickland. Because no offense, if you fight Sean Strickland, the selling point of that fight is Sean. That's just a fact. I like Leon. But you tell me what sells better. Leon Edwards versus Sean Strickland, double champion fight. Do it in England. Whatever. Or Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm telling you what I am more likely to buy. And that's the fight that they would rather make. Leon Edwards, the reason that they gave you Colby Covington is because they hope that you win. They hope that either you get star power off of Colby. They want you to take the sign off of Colby Covington. Or Colby wins the title, and then they can make a Colby Covington versus Bilal Muhammad. Because Bilal's the backup for this fight. That which almost guarantees that he will be fighting for the title next unless the UFC wants to pull some bullshit. And I'm telling you this right now. I'm not even a huge fan of Bilal Muhammad, but every person that I know that has trained with him has nothing but great things to say about the guy. And Bilal Muhammad deserves to fight for the title next. It's not even a question anymore. But Colby wants to fight Sean Strickland or Islam Makhachev. He's been... In any interview he does, when they ask him, if you win the title, what's the first move that you're going to make? He wants to fight Islam Makhachev. He wants to fight Sean Strickland. And like, I don't even want to entertain a Son Strickland matchup, because even if you like Colby, Son Strickland pieces Colby up badly. Colby should be cutting weight at 170. He should not be fighting at 170. If I could see him going down to 155. So him going up to 180 and fighting somebody that could actually weaponize pace better than he does, like, that's not even a fight worth talking about. Son Strickland has the wrestling defense to keep this fight standing and has the striking to keep him at distance. And Son Strickland is a big dude. Colby's not doing anything. But I'm getting off topic because I don't even want to entertain that matchup. But Colby versus Islam Makhachev, as crazy as it sounds, is a fight that is more than possible, okay? Because Islam Makhachev has said, I don't want to fight Charles Oliveira. I want to fight Justin Gaethje next. And I like that matchup. He doesn't believe in rematches unless they earn it, and I understand his point of view there. But the UFC, if given the choice to either do Islam Makhachev versus Colby Covington, or Colby Covington versus Bilal Muhammad, like, you tell me what fight they're making. They'll force an interim belt between Bilal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov before they let Bilal Muhammad fight Colby Covington before Islam. Like, I understand why the UFC is doing this, because at the end of the day, it is an entertainment company above a sports company. So that's why you'll see like these leaps in logic with Conor McGregor being able to go to boxing, but Francis Ngannou, we're going to take his entire career and just throw it down the shredder. And I'm not even kidding you. Legitimately try to wipe him from history in the UFC record books. So I understand why they do these things. But Leon and Colby, just defend your belt at least 3 times. Leon, if you want to fight Son Strickland, the fact is you are not the most charismatic guy, but you are unbelievably skilled. Leon Edwards, just beat Colby Covington. I think you do beat him. I think it's going to be... I think it'll be competitive in the later rounds. Make no mistake about that. And if Colby wins, it's going to be either by like a 5th round TKO or by a razor-thin decision. But I don't think they're going to give it to Colby off a split. Leon has multiple avenues to win this fight. I can see a finish early. I can see him doing so much damage in the beginning of the fight that when Colby tries to weaponize pace later, he's just not going to be able to do it. But I'll give my full prediction when the press conference come out, because I want to see Ian Gary's psyche so I can give a good prediction on that. But Leon, defend the belt against Colby. Fight Bilal Muhammad. Do the UFC a favor and just destroy Bilal Muhammad. And then we can talk about it. Because the UFC would like to make a Shavkat Rakhmonov fight, maybe even an Ian Gary. Because there's some history there. Make those two fight each other for an interim. While you can fight the champion of middleweight. Like, do this favor for the UFC and ask for a favor back. And Colby, listen, I understand it's a character, and what the UFC was planning to do to you when you fought Damian Maia is scummy. I love the UFC. The UFC has some scummy business practices at times. Colby Covington was going to be cut from the organization, whether he won or lost to Damian Maia. They made it in Brazil. They wanted Colby to lose. And Colby Covington puts on one of the best performances of his entire career against Damian Maia against a home crowd. And then, he has the famous speech against Brazil, calling him a bunch of savages. And he went into character. And in one of the first times in UFC history, it might be the only time off the top of my head, Colby Covington goes to bed, the interim champion, and wakes up without a belt. It is as simple as that. They robbed him of a belt after threatening to rob him of his career. Colby Covington, in my mind, was champion, not interim. He should have been the undisputed. But in my mind, he lost the right to be called undisputed when he lost to Kamaru. That's fair. But Kamaru Usman set a great example for the welterweight division, and I think more fighters need to follow what he did. Kamaru Usman never had a great personality. In fact, I believe when in his height, before the second Masvidal fight, he was considered one of the most boring and disliked champions. Not like an Aljamain level, but he was. He was not a light champion. But he earned people's respect when he beat a Gilbert Burns, when he beat Jorge Masvidal for the second time, when he beat Colby Covington again. And then when we finally gave him that respect of being the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world right before he fought Leon. Leon took the sign off of Kamaru Usman when Kamaru Usman said he wanted to do a boxing match and become a double champion. I'll tell you this right now, whenever I hear a champion say that they want to become a double champion or a boxing match, I'm automatically looking to bet on the challenger. Because now your psyche is going to something else. But I would honestly still bet on Leon because Leon's more skilled than Colby is. And Colby wants a double champion fight, but he also wants to fight Islam Makhachev. But for none of these fighters, they don't even want to defend the belt of their own division anymore. Now we're talking about double champion fights. And I think there really needs to be a rule instituted to where you need at least 3 title defenses to go up and challenge. Because we have the unofficial rule, contenders have to win 3 fights before we give them a belt. They have to be on a win streak before we give them a fight for a title. Only in rare occasions will we give a championship fight to somebody who is not in a win streak or is only coming off 1 win. But I believe in all cases, you need to have 3 wins, 3 title defenses before you go up and challenge. But that's going to be the video. If you enjoy this content, please consider a subscribe, a like, and that would really help me out. We're trying to get to 2,000 before the end of the year. Absolutely wild that we got to 8,000 before the end of the month. And I owe that all to you guys. I'm improving each and every single day. And if you have any constructive criticisms for me and this channel, put it in the comment section below. And without further ado, adios, guys.